It's time for all your binge-worthy pop culture news. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hi, guys. Welcome back. And do we have a lot to talk about? Guys, we're back to recap 90 Day Fiance the other way, this week's episode. And it was interesting to me. We have a lot to talk about. And of course, I'm going to bring up Jason from Down with Jason. But I don't want to forget to remind you guys, this is a subscribers only live. So if you're not subscribed, get subscribed. Don't forget to smash that like button and hit that notification bell because, well, you don't want to miss anything we have coming up. And with that, I also want to bring up this. I thought this was funny. Yeet said, my son has started eavesdropping these lives. Last night, he watched all of Adam and Jason's videos. I love that. I just hope we're not saying anything bad. All right. With that, guys, let's welcome Jason.
Hey. Hopefully no one's watching Hot Messy Topics if your kid is too young.
Yeah. But we are back tonight for another Hot Messy Topics, and we have some really great topics tonight.
I'm super excited. And today is a fun day. I'm excited about a lot of things. Yeah.
And then also, we'll pitch it at the end of this. But anyways, let's just jump right into this episode because this episode had you rolling on the ground laughing, almost literally.
My God.
You were laughing your ass off in the bed because of who?
Because of Sumit's mother. I love her. And you said she reminds you of a Disney character. And yes, it couldn't be more spot on. I love her. Now listen, this is a lot on Jenny, and I see her frustration because not only has she lived a life and raised kids and had a job and everything, and now she has to go through this, which culturally this is what happens.
Right.
I can see
where it would be difficult.
His mom cracked me up. It was so funny to watch their interaction and watch her talking and watching Jenny interact. And then, I don't know.
His mom is trying to get her to make Alta and get the flour and try to do everything right. His mom's trying to teach her how to be a traditional Indian wife. Well, in India, from what we're gathering from watching the show, and if you guys are from India, you're more than welcome to chime in on this. I'm so curious. But apparently the parents move in with you or you move in with the parents and the mom will teach you how to be a traditional Indian wife. Well, Jenny feels like she's at a place in her life where she's a little bit older and she does not want his parents around. But his parents are like, wait a minute, if we're going to accept you, we need to teach you how to cook, clean, and be acceptable to society because we have a huge social circle. And when we introduce you to all of our friends, they're going to ask a lot of questions. They're going to scrutinize you. They're going to make fun of you. And they're going to ask Samit, which one is your mom? Which one is your grandma? Is it this woman or is it this woman? And that
obviously we know who it is. They're not, I of course it would, but you have to understand, like, if this is what you want to do, if this is what you want to do after that whole, your whole long life of working, this is what it is. So Jenny has to buckle up and accept it. Sumit is already talking about moving in with his parents and everyone living together. And if you want to be a part of the culture and the family the way that they want, if you are that much in love with him, because Jenny could leave at any time. She's had a decade. Okay. So it's on her at this point. Now you gotta accept it. This is the culture you're stepping into. This is the place you're choosing to live.
Well, I want to bring up one comment. GGB said, Jason, no, listen, she is funny to watch, but Jenny has been living her life there for years. Not fair to expect her to change now.
I mean, listen, it's their family. It's their culture. It is their beliefs. If you want to stay in that is Sumit's family. That is how it's always going to be. You need to accept that. Otherwise, go home.
But also, one thing, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that because one thing that kind of put me off a little bit here is Jenny has been trying to conform as much as possible, I feel like. And there are certain things that she wants to hold on to because she's not a traditional Indian wife, right? She's still American at the end of the day, and she still wants to hold on to some of her culture and values. And one of the things that she's used to or not used to is having the parents live with you. And she even said to Samit, you are an older man. Why do you need your parents to live with you? He's trying to.
She has told Sumit what she wants. If Sumit is not giving her, Sumit, whatever, is not giving her what she wants, if he's not standing up to her parents and saying, I love this woman, this is how it's going to be now, then she has to sit there. If that's what she wants and she wants to be with him, this is what she has to do. Otherwise, she can leave his ass, because he could also step up, pull his big boy pants up and be like, no, I want a different life. I want some change. And this is how we are going to live our lives. He's not doing that. So if he's not going to do that, then you're going to have to kind of buckle down and do the work.
Now, there are a couple things that I agree with in this episode when it comes to Ginny and Sumit and having Sumit's parents around. When they're having the conversation back and forth, by the way, his mom literally just lives for the conflict back and forth with Ginny. When she sees Ginny getting all amped up, she's laughing in her face. And then when Ginny's kind of getting to the point where she takes her tissue, she's like obviously getting flustered. She rubs her nose and she sticks it on the plate. His mom is like, no, this is gross. It's not sanitary. What are you doing? Now we can't even eat off of that plate anymore. And I was thinking in my head too, I hate when I see people do that. I hate when I see people take gum out of their mouth and stick it on their dinner plate. And I hate when I see people rub their nose with the tissue and stick it on their plate. So I'm with Sumit's mom on this. But also when Sumit all of a sudden comes out of the woodworks and is like, wait a minute, I want a life where I can have my parents around and I can also have you around under the same roof.
I can get my love from my parents and my love from my wife. That this is what I'm talking about. Sumit has always lied to Jenny.
Right.
If you are going to stay in that situation and continue to deal with the changes and the lies, I guess, then she's got to accept that and do exactly what she's told to do to stay in this situation. Otherwise, Jenny needs to leave.
Okay. Well, guys, go ahead and smash that like button if you haven't already. We're going to move on to the next couple because this couple also gets me. They set me off a little bit, and I don't understand. I did a poll asking you guys about Steven and Alina. I asked you if you were in Alina's shoes and you knew that this guy had hooked up with so many different girls, made out with over 100, did more than making out with over 24, and then actually went all the way with about 4 or 5. He can't even remember. Would you stay in this situation, especially because he's been preaching to you about abstinence and how important it is to his religion? Now, all of you guys said it was 100% on the poll. No, I would leave his ass. And I agree with it. I don't think Alina should be giving him a second chance at all. And all she's asking is to delete your social media. This is the problem I have with this. If Jason ever asked me to delete my social media, I would say no. Because one, that's how I follow my family. And then when we were living far away across the country or even in Thailand, that's how my family kept in touch with me. So I see where Steven's coming from. But unfortunately, when you're caught with your hand in the cookie jar and she set up this whole little trap for you with her friend Masha, and now Masha's reaching out to you, you're inviting her to the States, you're saying, bring your bikini, bring your bathing suit.
And this is why she asked him to delete social media, because he has a history of doing this, okay? And I don't buy, okay, well, I want this photo. I need to save this photo I have on my phone. Okay, how did it get on social media? You have it somewhere. So yes, if you want to stay with Alina and Alina is making those requests after what you have done and are making her go through, I think it's a valid request and you should just be able to delete it. If that is the love of your life and the person you want to marry, okay, so you can't delete social media, but you can move to Turkey with this woman to marry and then move to Russia. That seems a lot more difficult than deleting your social media. It takes one click.
You know, I know that Alina is a grown woman, but if I would have been Alina's mom, I would have been like, get your ASS on the plane now. We are going home.
Too. She comes from a smart family. Her mom is smart. Her grandmother's smart. They just want the best for her. And I don't think Steven can offer that for her.
No, and, you know, watching Steven and Alina, when they're having the conversation and Alina's like, I've decided to forgive him. I want to move forward and see if we can get to a good place where we can do what we came here to do. And then we see Steven, they're getting ready to take Alina's mom back to the airport. He says that he needs to get some snacks real quick. He's rudely eating the snacks out of the bag, offering the driver the snacks, I don't know if we're in COVID or not. Actually, we are in COVID.
We are in COVID. There is no awareness. There's no awareness. And then just to go back on the social media thing too, you know, we're 2021 now. You have other ways to communicate, and social media isn't always the best or the healthiest to use anymore. So the awareness that Steven is missing, especially when he's in a car, like if I was in a car with your mom and like squished in with you, and we had like kind of, met once or just met, and then we were in like, let's say an Uber, and there's a pandemic, I'm not going to grossly like chomp my cookies in your face and then talk to you like this close to someone's face. What if your breath stinks? And then offer the driver. It seems like Steven has a lot of things he needs to work out for himself before
he needs to grow up.
Relationship. Exactly.
He needs to grow up, and when they go into, there's a scene in this episode, if you guys missed it, where they go into a Turkish bathhouse and they're sweating it out and having a conversation. And she's like, I want you to delete your social media. And he keeps saying, I didn't think when I told her and I agreed to doing it that she would be so adamant about making me do it. Now I regret even saying I would delete my social media in the first place. And she was like, wait a minute, this is what you said you would do. If you want me to stay, this is what you need to do. And then he turns it around on her and says, I feel like you're stonewalling me a little bit. I was like, what the hell what is going on? She's not stonewalling you. You said you would delete your social media because she caught your ass red-handed. And now you're not following through with your promises, which if I were her, again, I would have left already.
I almost think he's slightly mentally abusive, because I grew up Mormon, and your expectations for someone that you want to convert, like that's the what am I trying to say? The weights that you're putting on her shoulders in order to be as good as you want her to be, as being to that standard of the church that you want her to be, and you're not even living it. And then you turn around and tell her that she's doing things wrong. That's almost like mentally abusive.
Well, it's weird.
Hypocritical.
It's definitely
of course it's hypocritical, but then he keeps going with it. He can't admit his own mistakes. Deal with his own issues. And I wonder if he thinks because it's okay because he's a man. Because even in the Mormon church, only the men hold the priesthood. So I wonder if he thinks it's okay if he does it, but not so much if she did it.
I think getting back to it, when they were in the car and he's sitting there chomping in her face, and then he like says, so I want to ask you a question. And then finally asks the question. He's like, I don't want what you witnessed here to paint a bad image of me. And she just let him know, listen, words are words, actions are actions. I haven't, so far from what I'm seeing, it's not good. I haven't seen great actions from you. And she doesn't look like she's happy. She looks like she's kind of pissed. And again, getting back to Alina, I would be pissed too. But when Alina has a conversation with her friend Masha, when she came up with this whole idea in order to see if she could trap Steven in a social media conversation with one of her good girlfriends that's very attractive, Steven took the bait. Steven ended up writing Masha back and forth, and she revealed, okay, well, I had a plan. I shared, I want to share this plan with you. I caught you. And he's like, wait a minute. So you set me up? And she's like, yeah. And
do you see how he turns it around right away?
Always.
This
is so toxic. It's not even funny. And if this is setting the precedent of your relationship, then yes, you should probably pack your bags, go home, and find a nice Russian guy, or even another American dude, or any kind of guy.
There are so many.
Yes, from any country who's going to treat you right. Just not Sumit. That's all.
Just not Sumit. Although she probably would be better in the kitchen than Jenny.
Okay. All right. I want to move on to our next couple because I felt really bad for this couple, Kenny and Armando. Guys, if you haven't already, go ahead, smash that like button. We have 100 in the room. Kimberly said, LOL. Oh my gosh, that was hilarious, Jason. All right. So Kenny and Armando, Kenny is finally telling Armando, letting him know, I'm homesick. He agreed, just like Steven agreed. Steven agreed to delete her social media. Now he needs to follow through. Well, Kenny's showing us what a mature adult would do. And he agreed to move to Mexico because Armando did not want to take his daughter, Hannah, out of the country. Well, I'm kind of trying to understand here because I don't necessarily think that's the most fair, only because Armando has Hannah, who is young, but Kenny has a whole family and grandchildren back home. Even though Kenny was the one who decided to settle and, let Armando win this argument because Armando wants to keep Hannah around her grandparents and her family. In my mind, I'm watching this and the family doesn't even really want to be around Kenny and Armando and, well, probably Hannah, but they just don't want Kenny around. I feel like and this is nothing against Armando's family. I feel like if they brought Hannah around Kenny's family, where everything is so accepted, there's a lot of love there, there's a lot of kids, there's grandkids, it's a totally different situation. They wouldn't be as alone as they are in Mexico. I think that would be such a better situation for Kenny, Armando, and Hannah.
I mean, I have to agree. You know, Kenny has a huge family, so it's not like Armando would be making the same sacrifice, but in kind of a different way. I think that growing up, Hannah would have lots of cousins and aunts and uncles and sisters and brother, like a lot of people to surround herself with in a great environment. I don't understand. I think it's because Hannah's mother's parents are there too, but I haven't seen. How often do they see them?
Right. Well,
you know,
that was my big question too, you know. Cheryl said, why couldn't they do half in Mexico and half in the US? I feel like that would get a little bit confusing. Caroline Bird said, it's time to move to Florida. And
I agree. I think they should move to Florida, and I think they should go to Mexico for the holidays. It's not that far of a flight.
No. And you also, like when my parents lived in two totally different states, and I know it's a different country, but there was always a stewardess. Like if you have a small child, you can talk to the airline and have someone take your child from point A to point B. That's what my parents did with me. And I was flying at such a young age because I had to go back and forth between my two different families, and we lived very far apart. So it wasn't driving, it was flying. My dad wasn't getting on the plane with me to fly me back home to go see my mom. So I would have somebody who was kind of assigned to take care of me while I was in the flight. And I think that they could do that too.
It also seems that wherever they are living, I know they're not exactly close to Armando's parents. I don't know exactly where they are, but it seems a bit isolated. So every time we see them, they're driving somewhere, and it does take a minute. You know, like we were talking about the other day, or last week, I think we were talking about this, how wherever they live, they have to take like a far. It's like living in Malibu, where you have like the house on the water, but then you have to like drive really far either way to get anywhere.
Right.
And it just seems a little inconvenient, a little isolated, maybe even for Hannah. I don't know. I don't know the situation, but it just seems, you know, it would be better to have more people, more family around.
To be fair, this is the moment where they had the conversation. And in this conversation, you know, Kenny's just telling Armando, listen, I want to be open with you about this. I'm feeling a little bit homesick. You know, my daughter is about to have another child, so I'm going to be a grandfather again. I've always been such a huge part of their lives. I'm missing watching my grandchild grow up. And we just found out today, it was leaked, that Kenny did make it back to the United States for the birth of his, well, this grandchild that he's talking about on 90 Day Fiance. So that's exciting, but we don't know if Armando is making it back to the States as well. We have heard from a couple people, even in the chat here last week, where people have said, there have been photos of Kenny and Armando in the US, but I really do hope, because I just saw a comment where somebody says Armando's coming off selfish. I hope Armando kind of comes around and sees that, you know, Kenny also has given up a lot, and maybe you should look at it from both sides. Also, to be fair, if they want to adopt, I feel like they would have an easier time in the United States, because in Mexico, we're hearing it's going to be 4 years. In the United States,
look at all the hoops they've had to jump through already just to get a marriage license. I mean, what I see too from both of them, I feel like there's either they didn't communicate or there's some kind of misunderstanding, because I feel like, okay, Kenny wants Armando to tell his dad that they're getting married. Okay. And his dad is having, you know, problems accepting that, but then Kenny's mad that the dad's has not promised to come to the wedding. Now Armando wants a kid. Kenny doesn't. He's like, why do I want to do this right now? And now Kenny's home. It's like keeps going back and forth. It's like, do you guys talk about these things, or is it just coming up right now that you want a kid and that you're homesick and that my dad doesn't know anything, that we're getting married, and you have to compromise. And also with Armando's dad, I thought his dad was handling it so well, you know, and it's hard to rush people into how you want them to feel.
Right. And I also have to say, too, when it comes to all of this, you know, I feel like Kenny, these are conversations that you have before you get married in the first place. These are conversations that you have before you uproot your whole life. I want to bring up this comment. Melissa B said, I am going to agree to disagree with everyone on this one. It is heartbreaking for Kenny, but I 100% back Armando needing to stay in Mexico. Melissa B, we welcome all opinions. So if that's your opinion, don't be sorry for it. We appreciate it. Not paid by anyone. Hey guys, hi, welcome back from your trip. No, and also Ebony Dick said, Melissa B, I agree with you. That conversation should have been had before the wedding. And we're seeing going into next week's episode where Armando and Kenny are sitting down with their wedding planners, and Armando, is very willing to do whatever it takes to get married. And Kenny's like, I just want one thing. I want a sunset wedding. The wedding planners are like, well, that's really not going to be possible. But something I've learned, in my short lifetime is that honestly, anything is possible. It depends on how you navigate the situation, how you work the kinks out, but you could actually make this happen. If he wants a wedding that is a sunset wedding, why not just make it happen? It's the one thing he's asking for. He's uprooted his life. And I'm not trying to say, woe is me for Kenny. But at the end of the day, he's given up a lot more than Armando has. And it seems like he's a lot more willing to make Armando happy than Armando is for Kenny. Am I wrong?
I think I might agree with you on that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody said Armando's selfish. I don't know if it's selfish or if he's just putting Hannah first in mind of like, I want her to grow up around her cousins, her family. I think that's his standpoint. But I think in doing so,
however, Armando wants a baby so that their families can be, interconnected or whatever he said the last time, then all of his cousins, sisters, and brothers, or Hannah's cousins, sisters, and brothers are also in the United States. So it's like, what do you do?
Right.
What is, if you want another kid to kind of bring the families together or whatever.
Right.
I don't think a kid makes families come together, but who knows?
Okay. Well, in this scene too, we see where Armando is talking to Kenny and he's like, I don't want Cassidy, I don't want your family to hate me because you're staying here in Mexico with me. And he starts crying and you could tell this is affecting him. But I do have to say, even though Kenny said, no, they would never hate you, I feel like they will probably have this resentment and gut feeling that, well, even though we want dad to be happy, we want him to live his best life, we feel like he's doing a lot to be there for you, but also what about us? I feel like there will be that underlying resentment. I think that's only natural, especially because he's been very vital in their lives for so long. He helped raise one of his grandkids. It's a lot. It's a lot to digest.
It's a lot. I mean, listen, they've both made sacrifices to be together. Okay. So I think that's amazing. It's now what's next, because, first comes love, then comes marriage. So what happens next, and what are you willing to continue to sacrifice and compromise? Because that is what relationships are. You and I have been together 8 years. There has been a lot of compromise and sacrifice. It's just something that I don't think you stop doing ever in a relationship. And as much as they love to plan things out, there are a lot of things that they're missing, and that now that they have to talk about. But I do love watching their journey. I love, being from the gay community. I love watching that on TV. Their storyline is so much more
real,
authentic. Yeah, right. It's authentic. I kind of really get into, the situations, how Armando talked to his dad, how Kenny's dealing with his family in a foreign country. This is great to watch. So I'm either way, as much as I don't even know what I'm trying to say right now, but as much as I have opinions about what they should or shouldn't do, I love watching them, and I love watching them come to their own decisions as well.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to move on to our next couple because we have, it's always something with these two, Ariela and Binia. Now, we know Ariela obviously has taken their baby, Avi, back to the States because he has a hernia, poor baby, and she wants to get him surgery. She feels like in the United States with her insurance that she'll be able to get him a more affordable surgery, but she didn't know how long she was actually going to be there. Like she said, first she has to take the baby to the doctor, then they have to plan a date for the surgery, then the baby has to heal. She wasn't expecting it to be such a long period of time. Now, when she calls Biniam looks so messed up.
Drunk. He looks drunk.
He looked drunk as hell in this video call. And he's like, baby, for me, I have to go out to the club all the time because my friends, they don't want me to be sad. And I just want to be around my friends because they know I'm home alone. So for me, it makes sense to go to the club. Well, I get where Ariela's coming from too, though, because if he's going to the club, he has a history of cheating on his girlfriends, his exes, his wife. I don't know if I would necessarily trust him going to the club. And I can see where Ariel is like, I'm at my parents' house. I'm with Avi. I'm not doing anything. What the hell are you doing?
Well, I mean, I look at it two different ways because I know that Biniam had a problem with Ariela leaving and going to the States when they do have healthcare in Ethiopia, and she booked the ticket without telling him. So like already there, I feel like there's, okay, where was the communication before you decided to do this? Now, I understand where Ariela is coming from because both of her parents are in the medical field, and it's just easier to have them around. And also it's a chance to go introduce, it's Avi, right? Avi to her brothers and sisters and stuff like that. So I don't think it was a huge problem. But right when Ariela leaves, you're out in the club. Your conversations aren't really making sense. It's almost like you're impatient and selfish. Like what you should be focusing on is how is your kid doing and
getting a job,
the health of your baby, and getting a damn job.
Yes,
because that will also break up a marriage.
Yes. All right. Melissa B, thank you so much for the super chat. You are right, Jason. I've been married 27 years and there is always sacrifices and good communication matters. Super chat because you two rock. Hey.
Oh, thanks, Melissa.
We appreciate
27 years. Congratulations on that.
Seriously.
We're 8 right now and I can't 20. Oof.
My gosh.
20 more on top of that.
I'm going to be on Dateline before 20. Not paid by anyone said she has no choice but to trust. Honestly, she is very selfish. Okay,
I think they're both selfish.
I do
both
too.
Extremely selfish.
Florida gray-haired lady. Hi, Florida gray-haired lady. Benny is shady AF. All right, and then also one last one. Hazy Girl 247 said, I can't stand Ariela. She's just looking for any reason to justify her staying in America. Well, we know that she actually did end up going back to Ethiopia, and she didn't stay in America. But from what we see, there's a heated argument coming next week where she's looking at him on this FaceTime call, letting him know, I will not bring the baby back to Ethiopia if you continue to do what you're doing. And he's telling her how selfish she is, how she's just like his ex-wife. And I can understand both sides. This is a very, we saw him cry. He obviously has genuine emotion and he's fearful of not seeing his kid again because that's what
you can't. Okay, so if he's going out and having a good time, you can't use it against him. I'm not coming back with your child. That's utterly ridiculous.
Right.
So if he goes out, I mean, listen, she's gone for a while. It does take time to get into a hospital, have a baby, to have a surgery, let them recover, and then go back. That takes time. If either of them didn't understand that would take time, they're ridiculous. And then at the same time, you can't hold it against him that he wants to go out with his friends too. It's just the way he's going out with his friends, and it's happening every night. Because if you leave for like a week or whatever, I might want to go out with one of our friends like Melissa or something, go have a drink, just to get out. And
right.
And so I understand where he's coming from, but it just seems they're putting these stipulations that are just ridiculous on each other.
I agree with that. I agree. It sounds like they both have some growing up to do and compromising to work on, but okay, guys.
It seems like everyone on this show, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Everyone on the show has some growing up to do, except Jenny. Jenny needs to decide what the hell she's going to do.
I agree. I was going to say, guys, if you haven't already, go ahead, smash that like button. We have 200 in the room. I'm going to move on to our next couple. This couple absolutely loves each other. We feel it. They exude it.
Oh, God.
Corey and Evelyn. All right. Corey is working his ass off, well, at least he thinks, to get Evelyn back after admitting to her he cheated on her. Now, they were split up, but they were technically still married. And in her culture, when you're married, there is no divorce. She's explained that. And she asked him, did you hook up with anyone when you were in Peru? He lied to her, did not give her the real answer, didn't tell her about Ginny, and she gave him one chance. She said, I don't care. I broke up with you. You can tell me now. He decided to withhold that information and then share it on national television, which I don't necessarily understand, but that's the way he went about it. And he finally admitted to it, and she kicked his ass out. Now he's groveling, he's lighting candles, he has little flowers, he's trying to cook her a dinner, and he's trying to win back the heart of Evelyn. Well, she finally agrees to go to a therapist, and this was so awkward. We didn't know that Evelyn was in a car accident, and when she was, they ended up calling Corey to find out, where are you? Evelyn's been in a terrible, horrific car accident. we need you to come here. And he was partying with Ginny. There were stories on social media. One of his friends was posting stories where he was in the background, they were drinking, and she heard a woman's voice, which obviously was Ginny. When she asked him about it, he said, no, there was no woman. I don't know what you're talking about. You must not have heard that right. And she's like, you are an effing liar. You need to admit it, or else we can't move forward. And finally, the therapist says the same thing. Either admit it or move on with your relationship, because this isn't going to work. Now, I want to ask you, do you think, I mean, obviously you can't, nobody can think that this couple is going to stay together, but do you think this couple is going to stay together?
She hates him. And she hates it. She has valid reasons, but didn't she go on a date with someone too?
Well, she has also been caught with her hand in the cookie jar. Yes.
Okay. There you go. So you guys don't like each other. You guys are over each other, but then some toxic thing in the air makes you guys come back together. Because when she came over to the house that he's renting now, his own place, she said, I didn't want to come, but like some part of it makes me feel like, we spent years on this and I missed him a little bit, is what she said. So, I mean, make decisions. I don't know. You guys hate each other.
I agree.
But at the same time, it's kind of like that thing where you really want to impress, that person who doesn't like you. You want to impress them and show them that does that make sense? Like you're kind of.
No, I mean, I think everyone agrees with you. Caroline Bird said she hates him. Alicia P said she wants to, but he hurt her clearly. Yeet said, nope, she hates him and it won't get better.
I don't
Abby
think so.
Cortez thinks that they're just together to be on the show. Celia said that she's always disliked him. And then I love this one. Leah said, LOL.
Seriously. I say that every time we watch this. Even it doesn't matter which franchise of 90 Day A through Z that is on Discovery Plus. It's like, where do you find these people? And then once you get them, then it's like they get this thing in their head where they're kind of like a TV star for showing their poor relationship on TV, and they just move on to the next one. Example, Big Ed. It's just ridiculous.
It's mind blowing. I honestly, I don't think this couple is going to work out. Lisa H said Evelyn missed his money only, but he doesn't have a lot of money. He's made that known, like he does not have a lot of money. And also Evelyn's a beautiful girl. Like she comes off like she is not the happiest girl, but she is beautiful. She can go and find another person if she wants to. And actually she already has before. So technically, and that's why I say, if you cheat on your spouse, if you go all the way and you actually cheat on your spouse, like these two have, cut the relationship, because you're never going to let it go. I've said that so many times. Speaking of which, to end us off, we have this couple that we did not get to see this week.
Oh, Ellie, yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, Ellie and Victor.
Totally missed out on them. And I was looking forward to seeing them this week.
Yeah. Guys, go ahead and smash that like button if you haven't already. Show some love. Let's get 250 in the room. Ellie and Victor, we didn't get to see this week, but we got a preview of them for next week, and we see that it's not going so good. He's obviously hyper-focused on getting their house rebuilt, trying to get everything repaired, and she's trying to take care of some of the little things that still matter, like all of the soaking wet laundry and picking up, just little random things where he thinks that's not important, and he's giving her a little bit of an attitude. At least that's how she feels, because she called him an a-hole. My thing here is sometimes Jason tends to remind me, there are moments where I'm like, I walked the dogs. I went out and I made the bed. I went grocery shopping. And Jason's like, okay, well, how do you think paper towels get here? How do you think your toothpaste gets replenished? What about your moisturizer? What about your shampoo, your razors? You think that stuff just like shows up?
It's just endless.
Yeah. Do you think your laundry is just done? And then sometimes when I think I'm doing so much, he like humbles me and is like, no, bitch, get back in your corner, because I also do shit too. And then I think about it and I'm like, oh, you're not wrong. Okay.
It's just sometimes people like to tell you what they're doing. This is how much I have done for you.
I agree. That's like what you like to do.
No, that's what you like. I don't have to tell you what I do.
Well, obviously you do, because sometimes I'm like, well, look what I'm doing. You're like, no, this is what I do.
Wait, what? After you've already told me what you've done?
Yes, exactly. All right. Okay. Well, with this couple, do you think Jason, Ellie, and Victor will survive this hurricane of a relationship?
I hope for her, no, just because I feel like in the back of her head, like she said herself, she's always thinking, am I being used for money? And it seems, you know,
and the infidelity.
When she brings up the affair and the infidelity, he kind of wipes away. Oh, that was a mistake. Okay, I just don't want to talk about it anymore. That's not up to you. That's not how that works. If I've been cheated on, not by you, but you know, that's not how it works when you're trying to build trust back.
I agree with that. I agree. All right. Well, this season of 90 Day Fiance the other way, it's definitely keeping my attention more than Happily Ever After, but it's still, I need to get to like the next level. Like, what is the excitement coming up next? Where are we going from here? And watching the preview for next week, I don't know. I'm hoping that it's more exciting than the preview. We see Ariela's threatening Binia to not come back to the United States. We see Kenny and Armando are meeting up with the wedding planner. Jenny and Sumit, Sumit's mom, she just wants to just rake Jenny through the coals. Jenny gets diarrhea and she's like, so what? I get diarrhea 3, 4, 5 times a day. And guess what? I'm still working. And I was like, did she just say that on camera? Yeah, she said that. And Jenny's laying in bed and she's like, oh, my stomach. And the mom was like, no, girl, get up. Get up. You need to go clean. You need to go mop, put some dishes away. You need to go do shit because this isn't how a traditional Indian wife lives. Actually, I am excited about that because the mom gives me life in this.
She just makes me laugh. I know. Listen, it's not all like great. And I feel bad for Jenny in certain circumstances, but she has chose to be in the situation. She has chose to stay in the situation after even going all the way back to the beginning when she was catfished. It is up to Jenny. If Sumit cannot tell his mom, hey, this is different. This is not like a typical wedding. She is not an Indian bride, you know, learning to do things from the mother-in-law and live together. If he can't say that to her, then and she's choosing to stay, then it's up to Jenny. But if she's choosing to stay and Sumit's mom is there, I'm all there for it because it is so funny to watch.
But how funny is it too, before we cap this off, how funny is it in this scene when she's saying you can't do anything and Jenny's like going over to the confessionals and she's like, yeah, I think we're getting along. We're like back to the place that we used to be in.
It was just brilliant editing. It was so well done. And I was just laughing. I know it's not right, but it was just so funny to watch because we had, you know, that little bit of entertainment that we need in this show because it's always there's always issues. I mean, I don't feel like we see a lot of celebration except when like Kenny and Armando got their marriage certificate and everything was A-okay in that state in Mexico. That was kind of amazing to watch, but you don't get a lot of these either funny or like really nice moments. It's usually these dark decisions and fights and like, you know, Evelyn and Corey, they're so dark to watch. It's almost depressing. I'm almost depressed for them.
I agree. All right. Well, with that, guys, we'll be back tonight for Hot Messy Topics at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be posting in the community tab probably around 2:30, 3 o'clock. Just got to gather our topics, but we do have a lot of great topics. Make the thumbnail, do the YouTube-y things like Emily D. Baker says. And that will be for another subscribers only live chat. Last night we had a lively chat. It was a lot of fun.
Yes.
And then of course tonight we have Vanderpump Rules, the new episode, which Jason and I will be recapping on his channel tomorrow. And then tonight, Jason has a special premiere of his new show on YouTube called Anchor Watch with his comedian friend and myself joining for the first episode at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's going to be one hell of a time. I don't know how he's going to keep me awake for this, but I will be drinking a lot of espresso and I will be in the game. So if you haven't watched Below Deck, go check it out.
Check it out. It's going to be a great season.
Chef Rachel is hilarious.
TV gold and the ratings are always off the hook, but I think this year they cast so well. You know, they cast a great cast. I'm super excited.
Awesome. All right, Jason. Well, if anyone doesn't know, can you at least let us know where we can find you?
Yeah, you can find me at Down with Jason. I will be posting a video soon today. We talk about everything from entertainment, reality TV, royal news, and kind of whatever we want to talk about. We're evolving. I'm still new, so we'll see where we go. But come join me. I'm dropping a video this afternoon, and then also Hot Messy Topics on the Up and Adams channel, and of course, Anchor Watch to recap Below Deck tonight at 11 p.m. EST.
All right. Thank you guys so much. If you haven't already, go ahead, smash that like button. You guys are amazing. Thank you for another great live. Don't forget to set your notifications because we have a lot coming your way today, and we will see you tonight for Hot Messy Topics and Anchor Watch. Love you guys. Bye. And thank you for all of our mods and super chats. We appreciate you.